Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to the Madilyn Kolb Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. This is episode 2, and it's been a while, so I thank you very much for your patience. I have had lots of people close to me encourage me to make another episode, and this topic has been very heavy on my mind. So I think it's time to talk about the detachment epidemic and how people think it is so cool to not care and to be detached. Every time you get on Instagram or Spotify, you see a post about how life is good because I don't care, or about how to be detached. And personally, I think it's really cool to care. I ask myself, why do people want to not care so badly? And I think that being detached from other people's opinions is much easier than doing the work that it takes to build a respectable identity and to become a careful human being that puts care and intention into every little aspect of their life. It is much easier to jump around somebody's opinion in your mind than to admit that it's affecting you so bad because it's reinforcing an underlying identity that you have about yourself. When someone makes a comment and it affects you so badly, it makes you so insecure and it hurts you deeply, it's probably because it is silently reinforcing an identity that you have about yourself in your mind. I don't think it's as simple as becoming detached or not caring to overcome that. I think that when someone makes a comment about us and it doesn't affect us, it's because we don't believe it. But when it hurts us or affects us in a negative or positive way, it is because it is reinforcing a belief that we have about ourselves. So when someone says something to you and it hurts you, it brings up some emotion, it brings up some insecurity, I think we should sit with that. I think that that's a sign to do some internal work. When you put in the work every single day to build a respectable identity that you are proud of, an identity meaning the story that you've written about your life, the person that you truly believe that you are deep down, when you put in the work to make that something that you are proud of, a negative comment is not going to shake you. It's almost like your identity is a foundation. And if you don't have a strong sense of self, a strong sense of identity, these comments, they're going to shake that. Whether they are negative or positive, the lows are going to be low and the highs are going to be higher because you don't have a strong, solid foundation of your identity, of your sense of self, of who you truly believe that you are as a human being deep down. But when you start to build that, when you start to realize that the way you show up anywhere is the way you show up everywhere, and you do things day after day that are pouring into yourself and changing your internal self-belief, you are making that foundation strong. Nobody is going to be able to shake that or move that when you have years of putting in the work behind your back. When you have a weak foundation, those negative comments are going to reinforce a negative identity, a negative self-belief that you have about yourself. And people want to be detached from these other comments that people are making about them because they want to avoid that identity reinforcement. They're using it as a vice. Detachment can be used as a vice. I think that when you really think about it, anything can be used as a vice, because on a surface level, not caring about what other people think of you could be a good thing. People insulting you or making negative comments about you, not caring about that is a good thing on the surface. But if you just want to be detached from all of the things that involve putting care into your actions, I think that as a society, we're trying to use detachment as a vice, as a workaround to actually putting in the effort to be intentional. And like I said, anything could be used as a vice if you really think about it, but it all boils down to the deep-rooted intention that you have behind that thing. But when you put in the work, when you have a strong, solid foundation, when you have a strong, solid foundation, these other things aren't going to shake you because you have a strong self of identity that is built from within, from the ground up. But what I realized is this can go both ways. We're gonna get personal. I have only been going to the gym for about 5 months, roughly. When people make a positive comment, when my friends make positive comments about my athleticism, that doesn't resonate with me because there's still a part of me that doesn't identify with being athletic. I went 18 years of my life with not necessarily being considered an athletic person. All of my new friends think that I'm extremely athletic, but when they make comments about that, it really doesn't resonate with me because it's not a part of my identity. I was having a conversation with a friend that is constantly making these comments about me, positive comments, and she brought up something that I told her someone said about me that wasn't necessarily very nice. And she told me that she thought it was just such a cool skill that I could let it roll off my back, that it didn't really affect me. But the negative comment that was made about me was kind of outrageous and very much the person didn't even know me. I didn't resonate with it. I didn't identify with that. I know who I am because I have a very strong sense of self. And I told her that it goes both ways. When the negative comments don't give me a very low dip, the positive comments that she gives me don't necessarily give me a very high hill. But I heard a quote one time, and I don't remember where it was from. I was really trying to remember, and I couldn't remember. But the lows aren't very low, and the highs aren't very high, but the entire bar is raised. I think that when you put care into every little thing that you do, when you live a very intentional life in every little way, you are raising the bar for yourself. So technically, when the bar is down here and you get a high and a low, they're down here, But when you raise the bar, the highs are higher. Maybe not as high of a dip. I don't know what it's called in science or math when the waves go up and down. The range isn't as big, but the entire bar is raised. I butchered that explanation. If you're watching, then you probably got it more than the people that are just listening. Hopefully I can figure out how to upload a video onto Spotify. With my last episode, I could not figure out how to do that. So hopefully you're just watching and not just listening. So then my friend asked me, she said, then what kind of comments resonate with me? Because I said to her, I was like, those like compliments you give me, they don't really get me going. They don't really do much for me. So she asked me, this is crooked. She was like, so what does resonate with you? What does make you feel good inside? And I told her it was the comments that she makes about me having an impact on her. I said, the biggest compliment you've ever given me is when you told me you were doing 30 days of Maddie mornings. Because it made me feel like I really made a positive impact in the world, that my care and intention that I put into my life was starting to spread into other people's lives. Because that is a part of my identity. I believe that through doing things like this and through the conversations that I have in my day-to-day life, I can try my hardest and try my best to make a positive impact in the world, to serve others and to make their lives better, starting at the foundation, starting at the root, not just these surface level compliments or comments. I find myself having very deep conversations every single day. And so when people acknowledge that, that's what makes me feel good inside, because that resonates with my identity. You are constantly talking about your identity or thinking about it, thinking about the kind of person that you are. And this can go on from the smallest to the largest level. You hear a lot of people talking about how they're just anxious or how they just can't do this thing. People who think it would be cool to post on social media, they're like, I just can't talk to the camera. That is an identity. But it also goes down to things like, well, I'm just a messy eater. Every time you say, I am, you are assigning yourself an identity. And I think that it's really interesting once you acknowledge that, the different verbiage you use around things. Because you can learn to talk to the camera. There was a point in my life where I didn't think that I could talk to a camera, and here I've been having a stream of conscious thoughts for almost 14 minutes now. I make videos every single day because I practiced talking to my phone. The beautiful thing about the human mind is that it can always change, and it is always changing. Every time you learn something new, your brain is changing, and you are constantly taking in information and learning things, whether you acknowledge it or not. The beautiful thing about our brains is that we are not assigned to one mind. You fully have the ability to change the way your brain operates, thanks to neuroplasticity. And you are not stuck with the mindset that you were born with, that you were raised with. You have the opportunity to put in work and change that. And it all starts with your identity. It all starts with this foundation that you are building or have built. And then everything you do, everything you think, every conversation you have, every comment someone makes of you, about you, is either reinforcing your identity or it is not. And I think that people can avoid this because their identity is crappy. They can be detached because they don't have a strong sense of identity, or you can lean into this because your identity is respectable and it adds value to the world. If you do your best to serve others, to genuinely bring care into your day-to-day life, into yourself, into your body, into your mind, if you do little things every day that could possibly inspire somebody, I think that you should lean into this. And it's very interesting to acknowledge about what comments bring up some emotion about you or within you, what comments about you bring up emotion within you, and what ones don't. Because if there's a positive comment that's not resonating with you, you can ask yourself why you're not identifying with that. But when someone makes a negative comment about you, you can know that it's just straight up not true. Because you know who you are. You have a very strong sense of identity. You put care into every little thing. From the second you wake up to the minute you go to bed, you are putting care and intention into your actions. In my mentoring community, one day we were talking about thoughts and how we are not our thoughts. And a question that was asked was, if we are not our thoughts, then what are we? And I was reading this book, The Power of Positive Habits. I think it's by John Gordon. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I read a page that said we are not our thoughts or our negative thoughts. We are the thoughts that we believe and then act on. So if your identity is that you are not a morning person, that you just don't like the gym, that eating clean is a lot of work, or eating healthy, or you are just not an entrepreneur, even though you have this great business idea that you secretly always dreamed of starting. Every time you have those thoughts and you believe them and you act on them, you are reinforcing an identity about yourself. But if you choose to have a thought that you can wake up early in the morning if you so please, you can go to the gym, you can do these things, you can start your own business. If you have that thought, you believe that thought, and then you act on it, you will become that person. There is no doubt, there is no question that you won't become that person. If you believe that you can wake up in the morning and your alarm goes off at 6 or 5 or whatever time you decide you want to wake up at, and you believe in that moment, I actually can get out of bed right now, and you act on it, you have just officially woken up early. If you have a belief or a thought that you want to start your own business, and you believe, hey, I actually can do this, and you start taking actions as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, then you have officially become an entrepreneur, officially become a business owner, because you had a thought, you believed it, and you acted on it. And that is where the identity building, the foundation building becomes strong, because you have just kept a promise to yourself. You have just said, I'm a person that can go to the gym, believed it, acted on it, went to the gym, and now that brick is laid in your foundation. And if you continue to act on these things, you are laying so many bricks to build a strong foundation that nobody can shake. Whether they have a negative thing to say about you, or maybe they bring up something that you realize you should work on, if it doesn't resonate with your identity, that's something to think about. And if it does resonate with your identity, that is also something to think about. I think that when people think it's so cool to be detached, it is just easier. It's so much easier and faster than laying all of these bricks that build you a very strong sense of who you are and how you decide to show up in the world. If you're living a mindless life of not caring how you show up in the world, so then you automatically think, oh, I shouldn't care what other people think of me, because they're reflecting back onto you a way that you have showed up in the world, and it's kind of resonating with your identity that you choose to acknowledge or not. And that's so much easier than doing the deep internal work to lay these bricks or cinder blocks. They're probably a little stronger than bricks. But every time you do something, every time you take action, you are laying a brick. You are writing a story of who you believe that you are. So it's a lot easier to use detachment as a vice than to turn inward and do deep work. I have really noticed with myself that I pick my acne a lot. And obviously it makes my acne worse. But, one second, this is crooked. I'm worried it's gonna fall. But there is a underlying identity that I am a girl that has acne. A few days ago, I made a promise to myself that I was not going to pick my skin. And guess what I did? I picked my skin. I popped my pimples. And it was another day of reinforcing an identity that I just can't help it. That I'm a girl that has acne. So if I pop one pimple, it's not going to matter anyway, because it's going to be there no matter what. Another one's going to pop up no matter what. So why even try? Why even try to not do this thing that I identify with? It's written in my story that that's a part of who I am. So today, I said, I'm just not a girl that has acne. I just don't have it. Even when I'm washing my hands and I see my pimples in the mirror, I'm telling myself, well, I don't have acne. So there's nothing to pop. There's nothing to pick. And maybe this is one of those situations where the Lulu is the Salulu, as my very good friend says. But sometimes you have to be delusional to rewrite the story at first. Because who says that if I do this for a month, maybe my skin will clear up? Maybe I won't have pimples to pop. Maybe I will start reinforcing that delusional identity that I'm building of myself. If you're trying to start getting into the gym, you could be a little delusional and say, well, I go to the gym all the time. what's this one more time? And get yourself there, and you're like, well, I'm just here all the time. I know exactly what I'm doing, and just try things out. Excuse me. And if you start acting in alignment with that identity, that you are a person that wakes up early in the morning every single day, that you go to the gym however often you see fit for you. If you start acting in alignment with that, if you truly believe those thoughts and you act on them, after some time, those bricks are going to be laid, and that foundation is unshakable. You can always change your identity. Like I said, this is the beauty of neuroplasticity. You don't physically have the same brain at the end of the day that you had at the beginning of the day. Your brain is physically changing every single day, and every single thing that you have ever experienced in your entire life accumulates to the person that you are right now. And you can use that to your advantage, or you can not care and be mindless about it and not do the work to build a respectable identity. And nobody has to believe that your identity is respectable besides you. If you truly believe at the deepest level that you are putting care and intention and showing up in the world the way that you want to show up, nobody else can tell you that you're doing anything wrong. I mean, nobody else can tell you you're doing anything wrong anyway. But it all goes back to the intention that you have behind your actions. If you genuinely love the way that you are showing up in the world, if you feel that you are truly living a valuable life, whatever that looks like to you, that is so beautiful. And I am proud of you. If you believe at the deepest level in your soul that you are acting in alignment with your best self, that you are very happy with your identity, that is so beautiful. Whatever it looks like in your personal life, no two people are the same. And also, you are the only person consistent in your life. So you have to be unapologetically and authentically yourself. Don't let anybody else tell you who you are, because you are your own person. You can only find the right answer from within. So basically, I think it's really cool to care. And I think it's really cool to care and be intentional about every little thing. I really thank you guys very much for listening to this, for sitting through, hearing my voice on this imperfect audio. I have just marked another data point that I am a person who records her podcasts. And also another reminder that imperfect action is still action, and there is always time to refine things later. I have no intention of editing this podcast. I kind of want to minimize the resistance between the recording and the posting so I can get these videos, this podcast, these episodes out. So I'm recording on my iPhone. The microphone I ordered doesn't work, so it's just my phone speaker. If there's background noise, I really apologize. If the audio is not perfect, I am sorry. If the video quality is not perfect, I'm sorry. We'll get there one day. But I hope that the words that I had to say added some value to your life. I hope that you think that it's cool to care too. I think that if everybody thought it was cool to care, we'd have a pretty intentional and careful world out there. I want to thank everybody in my mentorship community as well, and my friends. My friend Alex, who I told about our conversation a lot today, crew, and the whole community. Thank you again. And I thank you all for listening. I want to hear what you think. I want to hear your opinions. I want you to challenge my opinions. So whether you're listening on YouTube or Spotify, please leave a comment. If you disagreed, please tell me. If you agree, please tell me. If you have anything to add, please add it down below. If you're listening on YouTube, subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, follow. I think my Instagram is in my bios for both of them. I also don't really edit my Instagram videos that much because I'm doing the Higher Up Wellness Challenge, if you guys have ever heard of it. You basically just talk for 60 seconds, trying to minimize your filler words and talking about whatever the heck you want. But I talk about pretty similar things on my Instagram. So, once again, probably for the 5th time, thank you guys for listening. I hope you have a beautiful, amazing day. And I love you.